And hello there folk, it's me RJB from RJB TV. And today we are joined by the two strongest 2v2 teams, Byul Doromi and Freyja and Heness. Let's dive into this match. It was played only a couple of days ago, and this should be very exciting for a number of reasons. Let's jump right into it. Freyja and Heness against Byul and Doromi. So here we have Freyja on the 3 o'clock spawn location, joined by his teammate Heness, who's right in between his two opponents. Here on the 6 o'clock spawn location, and here is Byul, known as Byul, a former professional player, very good player. And here's Doromi, also a former professional player who used to go by the name Tinkle. So a little bit of something small I want to highlight here is why am I so excited about these players? Well, look at this. Heness and Byul played in the StarCraft World 2 vs 2 competition in season number 43 or 44, and they went 56 wins, no losses. And then they played in the finals where they won 5 wins and 2 losses against Thanatos and Hydra, who combined pretty much make up the best non-Korean 2 vs 2 team in the world. Bottom line, Heness, Doromi, Byul, and Freyja are literally almost unbeatable by anyone else in the world. They're literally almost unbeatable. It took 56 games for them to lose just once. And of course then they lost again, but then they won 5 times in a row right afterwards. And that was on the Western map. So that just goes to say, and goes to show, how extremely good all of these players are, right here, before us. All these players are, I'm not quite sure, but they might just be 4 of the 10 best 2v2 players in the entire world right now. And if I had to say who's better, I'm not sure who are better than them. There is a player who goes by the name ByJXX who might be on their level. I've heard so from Heness himself. Heness himself said that ByJXX might just be better than he is. Then of course there's Brain as well, and some of the retired players like Luckyback, Shin, and Gensei who are also on this level, but besides them, I don't think there are a lot of players who can claim to be on this level. So anyway, back to the match. We have a triple gateway coming out for 2 players on each team. So we have Freyja going for triple gateway, and then we have Doromi here going for triple gateway, and then both the other 2 Protoss players went for a Nexus into double gateway, Forge, double gas, and a Cyber Core. So we have a division of roles going on right here. We have Freyja and Doromi with the job to keep the other Protoss busy. Specifically the Protoss that is going for triple gateway. And then the other 2 Protoss are gonna go for a advanced technology build order. There are also some rules which I think are in place, which is namely no cannons on the middle, 1 cannon in the choke. I think that is the rule they're playing in Protoss against Protoss. So we're probably not gonna be seeing a lot of cannon play. We're mostly gonna be seeing a lot of macro aggression from these 2 teams. A lot of cannons coming out there from Heness. A similar amount of cannons. Actually, they're both doing the exact same build order. But it looks like Byul is a little bit faster with his Citadel of Dune. And he's not making a robotics facility. He's going to go for Dragoons. No range though. No range. He might get a range very soon though, but he's going for a slightly different path than Heness is. Heness is focusing on probably drops, whereas Byul is focusing on countering the drops with Dragoons, which is a very common thing to do in the Korean scene. Is if one enemy is gonna go for drops, you can go for Dragoons and try to snipe the drops and then go for a counter-attack, because if you don't go for drops yourself, your army will be slightly bigger than the person going for drops. That's something we might be seeing right here. So we have a mixture of armies. As we can see at the moment though, looks like the Dragoons are not yet paying off, which means Heness and Freyja have a bigger army on the middle at the moment. But as the Dragoons keep growing and growing stronger and bigger in number, the advantage will definitely go towards Byul and Doromi. But at the moment, they're still fighting for that advantage. And they're gonna have to keep that advantage on their side, because Heness might just kill a bunch of probes, which is something that Team Byul and Doromi at the moment cannot do. They don't have Reaver technology or High Templar technology on the way. We do have Dark Templar technology on the way there though, from Byul and from Heness as well. So both the teching Protoss players who went for their Cyber Cores are going to go for Dark Templars to try and win the middle fight. And it looks like we don't have any observers from anyone on the way at the moment. So far, it's a touch and go back and forth fight on the middle. They're trying to get a catch, get a surround on their enemies. Whoever catches their enemy first gets a supply advantage on the map, which is what they're fighting for right now. And so far, everyone is not missing a single macro cycle. Everyone has pretty much the exact same worker counts. The supply counts are, I would say, in favor of Heness. No, in favor of Byul. It's hard to call. I think it's in favor of Byul and Doromi, but not by much, by like a very, very small margin. A very, very small margin. Zealous now. Not sure what he's trying to do. He's trying to bait Freyja's Zealots to overextend too far onto the map and get us around and cut off their retreat path. He's trying to cut off their path, but he only gets about 3 of them. Wasn't there on time. We have a drop now from Byul as well there in the bottom corner. Dragoons are there to defend against drops from Heness. Heness has no Dragoons, so he doesn't have a means to defend himself against the shuttle drops by sniping the shuttle drop out of the sky. And he has delayed his own shuttle drops in favor of going for those Dark Templars to try and push Byul back to his base. But Byul has cannons spread about his base for detection, so the Dark Templars don't do too much. But the Dark Templars do keep Byul and Doromi away from the middle of the map. We don't have a robotics for Doromi. We do have a robotics on the way now, so he's probably gonna go for observers. Dragoon there on the high ground, gonna kill the cannon. Dragoons from Freyja there to push the shuttle away. Shuttle almost gets taken down, so that shuttle probably not gonna be functional enough to fly a High Templar or Reaver in to kill minerals. So even though both these Protoss players went for technology, they haven't dropped yet. Their first option, their first choice was to go for security on the middle. And in the end, because, oh wait, has to turn around, Dragoons there, vision on the high ground there from the observers, very useful. He's gonna storm the observer, gonna try to kill it, and he kills it before his own observer gets taken out. Look at how close that was. So right now, Heness has the advantage here on this high ground, but another observer coming in, and he's gonna try to shoot. It's too far from the Dragoon, so he can't really get that done. Doromi getting vision there on the side. He has one cannon in the front. Only one cannon is allowed. Not more, only one, and that one cannon is there for detection. That's as much as is allowed with the Protoss against Protoss rules in the Korean scene. They do not allow cannons everywhere on the map, at least not in the middle. They allow one cannon in the base, no cannons on the middle, and cannons on the sides is allowed, as many as you want. So, not sure which way this fight is going. Okay, it's definitely going in favor of Team Red. 100% in favor of Team Red. But as Byul enters the middle to try and flank, they reposition to get a favorable surround on Byul and Doromi's units. And the supply counts are now definitely in favor of Heness and Freyja. And we still have not seen a drop. Both teams have done a great job of fending off those shuttles. The shuttles just can't get through. The Dragoons are situated in such a way that shuttles cannot fly through. So both teams are doing an amazing job at staying aware, staying on top of where the shuttles are. But this shuttle here from Heness is flying all the way in. Tries on one High Templar, is going to try to storm, but can't storm. Just a little bit too far away to hit those probes. Heness, though, has lost some probes. I'm just noticing it right now. It's on 39 compared to Doromi's 47, which means he's lost at least 9 probes to a drop. So this big attack here into Byul's base doesn't quite achieve what they had hoped. Byul had a lot of units ready to defend, and a very favorable SimCity, a very favorable situation to defend against an enemy attack. So now the supply advantage has swung back to Gondor, Byul, and Dorom. And they're attacking into a position where they get surrounded by Freyja pretty much instantly. It's like, this is all about positioning. All about positioning. If you attack the enemy and go a little bit too deep, you stand a chance of getting surrounded. And with these spawn locations, it's always dangerous to attack. Because if Freyja and Henessy attack Dorom, Byul can flank from behind, which means their units get trapped in the enemy base. Likewise, if Dorom and Byul attack someone, they also can get flanked by the enemy units and get locked into the enemy base and lose all their units. So there's no safe commitment. Committing to an attack is not safe. You always stand a risk of getting attacked from the back. So these attacks are largely here to keep pressure upon the enemy and to find a way to create an opening for a shuttle drop to get into the enemy base and kill probes. So far, only Freyja has lost workers, and he's pretty far behind with a supply as well. Like, he's got a 135 against 200 and 165 there from Dorom. So very slowly but surely, Byul and Dorom are building themselves an advantage with favorable encounters on the map, getting these surrounds on the enemy. But some Dark Templars here from Freyja. There's no observers on the middle from Team Byul and Dorom. So these Dark Templars are definitely destroying Byul's army on the middle quite heavily. Now Dorom's units are getting surrounded again. He's trying to escape, trying to do maybe a little bit more damage, but can't quite get in there. Can't quite do it. So now we have Henessy moving in on Dorom. We have still... I'm surprised at how little drops are being used. Usually a Protoss against Protoss, like this, a double Protoss against double Protoss, you see a lot more drops flying back and forth, but I'm quite surprised with how well both these players are fending off the drop. Here comes the drop, big drop there from Henessy onto Dorom, gets a huge storm hit. How many kills? 35 kills, right as I was talking about them doing a great job of defending drops. Dorom gets absolutely stormed into oblivion, down to 31 probes. Henessy on 61, which means he lost a couple of them right now. Just now, he lost a couple of them. I think like 10, because he was on about the same amount as Byul was, so lost a couple of them as well. This massive attack here on Dorom from Henessy has really allowed the shuttle to sneak in and do some damage. Freyja is recovering. He's built a second Nexus. We have double Nexus there from everyone by now. Big attack here, drop there in the front. Gonna push some Dragoons to the high ground there. Now we have a small little pushback here from Byul, but the supply advantage combined, like everything combined, is definitely in favor of Henessy and Freyja. But the Byul is doing his best to try and get the favor, the advantage back on his side. He's getting flanked from behind, loses an observer. It's just so difficult to do when you get flanked from behind. These positions are good for everyone. Positions are good for everyone. I would say that Henessy has the worst position though, because he's locked right in between two players, but they're playing this very well with very consistent, solid production. Back on 71 probes, 42 there for Dorom. Dorom only having 42 probes is really struggling with keeping up in production with his enemies. It's really gonna come all down to Byul being able to keep up his production with Henessy and Freyja. Freyja once again just lost a lot of probes. I keep missing these drops on Freyja because a lot is happening, but Freyja is down to 49, he's below Dorom. He's just not having a good time defending against these drops. These drops keep flying in over the bottom side, and he just can't seem to intercept them. But at the moment though, Freyja is still doing an amazing job of pushing Byul back to his base, denying him the ability to really use his army to kill Henessy and Freyja's armies. The supply counts are still in favor of Henessy and Freyja. Not by much. Not by much. Like it's about to 20. Oh, drop there. Tries to get in. But we see that Doromi notices it. Drop from Heness. Tried to fly in, but the shield is on such low HP, it's never going to get in there. Doromi has recovered more or less, putting Dragoons on the high ground. He's on 50 ropes now. Big push into Byul's base, but Byul once again has a great SimCity going on. He's defending this very, very well. He hasn't been dropped yet. He's been managing like an expert to prevent drops from hitting his probes. So let's do a color correction here to just see that how the numbers are faring. And even though I was just saying that Byul was doing an amazing job defending, which he is, he's getting overpowered very slowly. Drop comes in there from Heness onto Byul. Byul is splitting up his probes, loses a bunch of probes there. How many did he lose? 21 probes, dead and gone. Economic favor is now definitely in the hands of Heness and Freyja. They're doing a great job there. Now, once again, a fight in the middle, but Doromi just doesn't have enough to push. Oh, Heness just got stormed to death, basically. 60 probes. Happened just now. It's difficult to see everything happening ever all at once when everything is a Protoss unit. It's difficult to see everything happening all at once, everywhere at the same time. So Heness just got stormed into oblivion. Nobody so far has been stormed as badly as Heness just got stormed. Down to 20 probes. Like, this is their last attempt. This is the last shot they've got. They gotta do a lot of damage on Byul right here, right now, or the game is over. Look at this. Very slowly but surely, Doromi is overpowering Heness, who pretty much has no production going at the moment, because 21 probes, you cannot produce a whole lot. Looks like Byul will defend this, but he is taking lots of damage. He's taking lots of damage. It's all gonna come down to, can Freyja recover his probe count quickly enough and keep his army big enough to leverage an advantage over Byul and Doromi? Can he do it? I don't think so. These Dragoons on the high ground are absolutely kicking Henness's butt. You just cannot fight into this high ground. The Dragoons there on the high ground take a 50% chance less to get hit. So Hennessy's trying to recover. He's trying to produce. But he's only on 87 supply at the moment. 126 supply there for Freyja. Freyja is struggling. He's been struggling to get that worker count back up high. He's got it in a pretty respectable region at the moment. Like 62 is a respectable amount of workers. Drop there comes in from Heness. He's gonna try to sneak in and hit him, and there's nothing to stop him. Ropes, Templars loading, Templar storming, Templar storming. Come on, no energy on the High Templars. Flew in just a little bit too soon. Is he gonna get a storm off? No. He went in just a little bit too early. Like, you don't get those chances to fly in that often. And he immediately recognizes, I had to hit these two storms. Right there was my only chance to win. And he went in before he had energy. It was like 5 energy removed from a storm. And Byul had nothing there to protect his probes. All he could do was run to safety. But when you've got 2 High Templars to storm on probes running in 2 directions, you have a pretty good chance to hit those probes. A pretty good chance. You could have killed a lot of probes. Just no energy. Just no energy. So he loses the fight there on the middle. Doromi overpowers him. Doromi managed to make a comeback. Got storm dropped pretty badly a couple times. Freyja just perpetually under 50 probes. Even under 40 at some points. Managed to make a comeback, basically. Managed to come back quite nicely. Heness got storm dropped for 10 and then like for 50. That storm drop for 50 probes really did him in. Like, that was the biggest storm drop this game. Just instantly out of the game. You lose all your probes, you're done for. The only way you can make a comeback is by killing all the probes of your opponent, and just never got the chance to kill all of Byul's probes. But that's game number 1. Let's give Byul and Doromi their first win of the series. Let's make it a little bit bigger there on the top. It's a little bit too small, to be honest. Just a little bit bigger. Just like this. Yeah, just like that. Just like that. And let's move on to game number 2. We're going to do another game of this series. Game number 1 was a very technical game, but we saw a lot less drops than I thought we would be seeing. And I think it's because of the spawn locations. Both teams were really trying their hardest to get an army advantage over the other, but by attacking, they were always exposed to flanks because of the spawn locations. They could never really join their forces properly. They were always getting intercepted, always getting flanked. But the way they defended against drops for most of the game was really nicely done. And I think that's also why we didn't see that many drops. Most of the drops got intercepted or deflected. Deflected is when someone tries to go in, but they see Dragoons in between the path that they're trying to take, so they turn around. I call it a deflected drop. Intercepted drop is one that gets sniped and killed. So let's look at the spawn locations. We have Doromi here on the orange Protoss 3 o'clock spawn location, and we have Byul on the yellow Terran, the 1 o'clock spawn location. So Protoss Terran against Protoss Terran. The mirror matchup that is one of the best to watch. Because it's different than Protoss against Protoss, where everyone is playing the same race and things can be a little bit hard to distinguish. So here we have Freyja on the Terran, and we've seen Freyja play Terran against Byul a couple of videos ago, a Terran against Terran, and that game went 44 minutes long, and it was a really good Terran against Terran between two of the best players in fastest map, Freyja and Byul. And I'll tell you, Freyja really put Byul up for a very, very difficult game. Even though Byul is the professional Terran player, so I wasn't expecting Freyja to have such a strong Terran, but boy, did he make life difficult for Byul. And here we have Heness on the Protoss, on the middle left of the map. And it looks like both Protoss players went for a 7 pylon into triple gateway, into an assimilator, skipping the forge. Now that is something new. That is something new. I haven't seen anyone skip the forge these 3 gateway build orders, but this looks to be a recent change in the meta. So we have double factory for both Terran players. Very standard stuff. They get supply depot on 8, gas on 8, and they get the barracks on 9. And then they mine 200 gas, 400 minerals, and when the barracks finishes, they get double factory. And then a third one as well. Third factory for Byul, a slight bit slower than Freyja, but it won't make much of a difference. Like if there's like a 3 to 4 second difference, it won't affect things too much. And the control there from Doromi on the Zealots is beautiful. Started stepping. Managed to keep Henness's Zealot out of there, whereas Doromi managed to get his Zealot onto Hennessy's probes, but does he get a kill? That's 1 kill. That's the first small little advantage for Team Byul and Doromi. They have 1 probe more, maybe 2 probes more actually. Maybe he killed 2 of them. So Zealot there from Hennessy trying to get on top of the probes of Doromi. Gets on top. Is he gonna get a kill? Don't think so. Gets killed. Zealot goes down. We have 2 Zealots there from Doromi inside of Freyja's base, and he loses an SCV. Might even lose 2. The control is very good here from everyone. I mean, when you have 2 former professional players playing against pretty much 2 equals, you are going to be seeing expert micro happening. So this is probably why they have switched around things. In the past, it was Forge before Assimilator. Now it is Assimilator before Forge because they want faster Dragoons on the map. Now, having no Forge does expose their probes to some Zealot harassment, which was the entire purpose of getting a Forge before Assimilator, is to prevent probe harassment. But I think they figured out that getting their Dragoons out on the map faster is more important against Terran. Because Terrans are not strong against Dragoons, like Vultures are not strong against Dragoons. Dragoons are great against Vultures. So they figured, if I can get my Dragoons out of the map before the Terran can get mines and speed, I might be able to leverage an advantage over them by killing more Vultures than I otherwise would with Zealots, because Zealots simply cannot kill Vultures. Zealots are terrible against the speed and might of Vulture Micro. So I think that's why we see faster Dragoons. But in the end, both teams are so evenly matched that I don't think anyone got a reasonable, sizable advantage out of this, except that Heness has less supply and 2 less probes than his adversary, Doromi. That's the only difference I can at the moment see. So it looks like on the middle, the fight is definitely going in favor of Doromi and Byul. Definitely, but now more Dragoons from Heness show up, which means that the supply lead that Doromi and Byul had is vanishing slowly. Also do note there's more mines on the middle from Freyja than there are from Byul. So now Byul is going to place his mines. No, he's not. He's still researching mines. He went for speed first, and then the mines. Whereas Freyja went for mines into speed. Small little difference there. So we have an observer from Heness, very fast observer, but it's also something that is a side effect of going for the faster assimilator. They can build a faster robo, which means a faster observer on the middle to nullify and kill the mines. Because the mines are a tool to get control over the map. So the faster you have an observer and the faster you have dragoons, the faster you can take away the control one team gets with the mines that are being placed on the middle. Because the mines are there to keep zealots and dragoons away from the middle, or to limit the freedom they have. So the very fast observer is doing its job. A lot of mines placed by Byul are dead and gone. Another observer for Doromi comes out in the middle of the map, and he's going to do the exact same, going to try to kill the mines that Freyja placed earlier. So we have a 7 factory here from Byul, a double command center. Whereas for Freyja we have 1 command center, fast starport, and 4 factories, 2 machine shop add-ons, 2 tanks, went for faster siege mode than Byul. Like siege mode is way faster, and that's because he went for fewer factories. So fewer factories means more gas to get upgrades, so he has faster tanks. But whether this really gets him an advantage, I don't know. I don't know. We have a zealot bomb there from Doromi on top of the tanks. So a fast shuttle here from Doromi to drop zealots on top of tanks, and oh boy, it's paying off. That drop, that fast shuttle with the zealot unload on top of the tanks paid off massively. But Heness is looking at the flank of this army that Doromi is sending into Freyja's base. And we can see that Byul is trying to intercept that army from Heness. Very good team play. The conceptual team play here is huge and massive. It's on a very high level. But Heness is overpowering Byul's mech army, which forces Doromi to retreat back into the middle, but Freyja lost so much of his army that he can't really participate. He's got 2 tanks going for Doromi's probes, unloading, sieging up. Doromi not paying attention. He's missing all of this, and he's losing all of his probes from 34 down to 10. That's 24 kills. That's a huge, huge hit. One he wasn't expecting. So the fast starport there from Freyja is paying off. Like, you can see a lot of different choices being made and how they're affecting the flow of the game. And right now, Freyja managing to survive that attack by Doromi and getting the tank drop out on Doromi has definitely cemented a huge advantage for Heness and Freyja. They're in a huge lead, because right now, Doromi can literally not produce anything, whereas Heness and Freyja have the freedom to move onto the middle and start attacking people without having the fear of counter-attacks. No fear of counter-attacks. Although he's losing a lot of his army on the middle right now. A lot of his army just went down on the middle. Lost his observer. Yeah, he lost his observer, it seems. Which means his dragoons were kind of locked in the middle because they can no longer escape because there's mines behind them. Another big tank up there on Doromi, loses even more, down to 5. Freyja's choice to go for the fast tanks, the fast dropship, and to get tank drops out, is paying off massively. Like, at this point I would say the game is won. It's almost impossible to lose because the supply counts are just so massively in favor of Heness and Freyja. Byul does have the most supply and the most workers, but it doesn't matter that much if Doromi is pretty much destroyed, dead, gone. There's no chance for a comeback because he's got vultures and tanks in his base. There's a fight happening there. They're trying to kill Heness. Like, they're trying to kill Heness while Freyja is busy and occupied killing Doromi. They've got one chance, one shot to do this. This is their only chance to try and equalize the game. You killed my ally, now we are going to kill your ally. That's their plan, to try to equalize the game. Doromi has no probes, nothing going for him. Reaver from Hennessy arrives in Byul's base. He's going to try to kill those SCVs, but the SCVs make their escape. But it's all, he's going to try to trigger the mine onto the Reaver. Takes it down, defends it successfully. Massive army inside of Hennessy's base. More units coming from across the map to try and solidify this position. We have drop ships with units inside from Freyja flying across the bottom side of the map to try and help Hennessy survive. Tanks sieging up on the top side to kill the cannons and allow the tanks to get closer to the probes. But the dropships from Hennessy arriving on the hills, loading on the hills. And now they have secured the hills, which means that they are going to cut off every single attempt to get into this base from Byul from this point onwards. Tanks on the high ground, tanks on the low ground, don't stand a chance. Dragoon spawning as well. Dragoon's going to try to snipe the tanks. And great sniping on the tanks. They kill one more tank. Hess on the scene. Can he get it down? No, one tank survives. Can he get close enough to the probes to kill the probes and equalize the game? He's still too far away. Tank is taking shots. He's going to have to kill the cannon really quickly. Tank goes down. Okay, they've defended. A small, massive mistake there from Byul. Sieging up the tank a little bit too close to the cannon. Probes stay alive. Reaver is saving the day. Reaver is killing the vultures very slowly. A couple probes do go down. But it raids from Byul to take down the tanks on the high ground. A great choice, but sadly, it's too late. Because there's Dragoons, and we have scans. The ROM dies. Byul is forced to call GG as well because he can simply not win this 1 against 2. It's simply impossible to win this 1 against 2. So game number 2 goes to Hennessy and Freyja, who played a beautiful game. The game was very close. Like, we saw a couple of moves back and forth where the game kept swinging in favor of Team Byul and Doromi, and back in favor of Hennessy and Freyja, and right back in favor of Byul and Doromi. Had some very close calls, but in the end, the choices to take different pathways by the two Terran players ended up resulting in a win for Hennessy and Freyja. I hope you enjoyed this game. I really liked this game, these two games. We saw a lot of new pathways to take for Terran and Protoss that I hadn't seen before. Like, I legitimately had not seen these changes in the build orders happen before. They've done some brainstorming and they've changed some things up. And that's specifically something that intrigues me a lot. Because now that means I have got a good reason to implement these changes into my own 2 versus 2 games and get advantages over my enemies. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you come back for part number 2, which should be coming up pretty soon.